As MD of the MMA, there are two questions I get asked very regularly by advertisers. One is, how much of my marketing and advertising budget should I spend in mobile? And the other is, how can I make sure that my marketing is really positively affecting our business? So at the MMA, let me introduce you to Matt. MAT stands for Marketing Attribution Think Tank. And what it is that our members, we're a community of industry experts looking to rethink the world of marketing measurement. We know mobile, we know digital is accountable and it can be measured, but we're looking to have a rethink on this whole world. We're seeking to give advertisers and marketers better measurements, tools, and confidence in connecting marketing to what effect it had on the business. That's what we're trying to do, and this project, which I want to give you some insights on today, was launched last September, and I want to give you some insights today and continue to update as we go forward throughout this year. But we have a very, very simple, very clear goal in this whole attribution project, and it is for marketers to select and apply solutions with confidence. Select and apply with confidence. We ran a survey last year, and we asked about attribution solutions, measurement solutions in the whole digital mobile world. Sample was about 400 or so. And what we found, primarily for marketers, is that 34% of that sample were currently using some attribution, measurement, marketing, attribution model or provider. But actually, in the next 12 to 18 months, that number would grow to 75%. So there's definitely a need and a growth within this whole mobile marketing attribution world. I think from presentations we've seen earlier today, the amount of data that is available to companies, to marketers, to publishers, to developers, to agencies, makes life in this world very, very challenging. But overcoming that challenge and being able to attribute actions by consumers, data insights into the outcomes that you want is, as my first slide showed, seen as the holy grail by a number of marketers. Actually, before I go any further, let me just give you a definition as we see at the MMA about what attribution is. And I'm talking for the next 20 minutes about multi-touch attribution, which we're defining as the science of using advanced analytics on user-level data, at the user level, the consumer level, to allocate proportional credit across a whole list of marketing touch points, whether they be online or offline, so that they lead to the desired outcomes. Quite scientific and quite wordy, but basically what I think we're trying to get to and what marketers want is to understand, if I do this, I read this data, I can make a decision on that data in real time and get the outcome that I would like. I'd like to sell more, I'd like to change brand awareness perceptions or purchase intent or the rest. And a lot of companies, in terms of either their structure or their traditions, have data analysts over here, brand marketers over here. They have different agencies that they work with, different providers that they work with, different publishers that they work with, and actually pulling all that together becomes a huge, one, organizational challenge, and two, a challenge to say, of all this data, what can I understand from that data in order to get the desired outcome that is going to grow and help my business. So we're on a bit of what we consider a bit of a journey in this whole new marketing channel that mobile represents, and it's maybe not that new. I mean, we know from our perspective at the MMA that mobile has a unique positioning. I mean, our view is that mobile is the closest that you can get to your consumer. That's not enough. It needs some measurement, some return on investment, some hard numbers, and I'm going to share with you some research that we've been doing over the last couple of years called SMOCs. Not only is there the research and the data and investment, but there's also the creativity, which is run through our program called Smarties, and then the multi-touch attribution that I'm going to talk about comes in along that. So that's the sort of flow, that we've got. Let me just give you an insight into our SMOCs project. So I mentioned earlier that the question I get asked is, how much of my marketing spend should I put into mobile? We know there are a number of devices. We know how many times a day consumers are using these devices and iPads and Xboxes and everything else. And I've got this money to spend, and I know I should spend it, but how much? And what will I get for it? So this was the project that we have been running for the last 2.5 years. It's called SMOCS. It's known as Smart Mobile Cross-Media Effectiveness Studies, a bit of a mouthful. So let me just give you a quick overview of what this study is about. And it's available, as I say, across the MMA and MMA Spain. So we've worked with a number of different companies, Coca-Cola, Finance, MasterCard, Unilever, the FMCG company, AT&T, Walmart, across the world. In different studies across the world, we've done 10, and we've got a couple more coming through. And the idea on these studies is that we look at personal level data. What we're trying to understand is, what did the consumer do? Did they buy? Did we change their opinion? Did they interact more with our brand? Did they increase their purchase intent around our brand or service, and the like? And what we have found, this is like cutting to the chase, this is the results that we found through these 10 campaigns, is that across all those studies in whichever countries, the share to mobile of total marketing budget should be somewhere between 12 and 20%. And just to clarify, that's not share of digital, because some people talk that language. We talk share of advertising total marketing, 12 to 20% across those brands. If that had been the level of investment across those brands, Coca-Cola, Unilever, AT&T, Walmart, as I've just shown, then the brand metrics by which they were being measured, they were measuring, but it wasn't the key objective, CPT, CPM, reach and frequency. What they were looking at is, what was the effect on my brand awareness, purchase intent? Did I drive more people to my store? Did I grow sales? So those 12 to 20% shares would have delivered an increase of 17% against those brand metrics. And I think the uniqueness of our study is that last number on the right, that would have produced an increase in sales or profit of somewhere between 7 to 25%. So for marketers to know that if they invest X, they will get Y in terms of sales is a huge step forward. One, in terms of mobile investment, but two, in terms of any projections that marketers need to do as they look to increase budgets going forward in time. So they were the results that we found overall. But let me also just say a couple of things we found. Across the detail of these particular 10 projects, we found that we were moving into a world where marketers really were not able to just, look at ads and sort of get a sense of what's going on. There was a number of data metrics that they really needed to look at and understand in order to make better decisions going forward. In the case of the Unilever Magnum ice cream campaign, for example, we actually found that untargeted mobile display advertising across that campaign had zero effect on sales of that product for that campaign at that time. Zero effect. So I'm here to lead the transformation of mobile, so it's quite a stat to say that untargeted mobile display for that campaign didn't have any effect. However, optimizing the campaign, looking at weather targeting in this particular case, had a phenomenal return on investment, up at 147. So data elements within campaigns need to be analyzed very closely and decisions made in real time in order to affect that. Our latest set of results is from an insurance company in the US called Allstate. They're into home insurance, car insurance. So again, I just want to share a couple of results that we've just launched with that. What they were trying to do was a couple of things here. They were trying to quantify the value of mobile and its effect on the business, which is what I've been talking about. But just as much, they wanted to drive change within their company. All the data points, all the marketers, all the analytics, all the technology, all the front-end, back-end development. They really wanted to change a bit of culture and understanding through analyzing the results of this campaign. So what were they trying to do? It was really, can we reach consumers who are considering changing their home or car insurance? In the UK, we change car insurance every year, so there's always an opportunity, and they wanted to measure the effect on sales. Targeting adults 18 plus for home and car insurance, as I said. And as you can see up there on the right-hand side in the orange circle, they actually had planned and were using traditional media, 59% of the budget, 41% was going on to digital, a number of creatives, but in mobile, interstitials, mobile video, expandables, and the like were part and parcel of their campaign. So one startling, maybe not so for some, result we found is that there was virtually no relationship between click-through rates on mobile and desktop and sales. I think a number of us working in this industry have sort of felt that before, that this determination on click-through rate is not necessarily the best measure of effectiveness when you're looking at sales. So that was what was happening on that campaign. If you think about this, this is a performance. I mean, it's auto and it's home insurance. Are you going to click through? Are you eventually going to buy and the like? But what we did find in terms of the results of the overall campaign is that 13% of their budget going onto mobile in its broadest sense would have increased profitability in sales by 4%. And actually, once they started to target their campaigns somewhat more based on information they're receiving in real time, the actual optimized share moves to 17%, and that moves up sales by 7%. So the idea for this company going forward is that their level of investment, there is data that they have now in-house on that level of investment that will allow them to increase their budget and know with a degree of confidence how it will affect their sales. That's the idea behind it. So coming back to our value chain, if you like, as I mentioned earlier, we've got this information from SMOCs about how much should be shared, how much should be spent in any campaign into mobile and what's the effect going to be. The next level of elements within that, as we found in some of these campaigns, is that your creativity, your creative output can have a major effect. One of the things we found is that if you could have 2 or 3 different creatives running in the same campaign on mobile, rather than one running all the time, you're going to be much more effective. And so again, as an organization, trade organization, we're here to give some insight and some best practice into creative in mobile. We do that through our Smarties Awards that we've been running globally, and I'm glad to announce that we're running them here in Spain for the first time this year. And this is really giving us case studies of best practice, best app, best website, best brand awareness campaign in mobile, and we'll be able to share that and add this into everything that we're doing here. So if you go along the value chain, return on investment, creativity, you come to, and how do we measure all this stuff, and what are the best tools that we need to do that? And for those of you here who have great campaigns in mobile, and would like to be recognized and win an award, if you've already won an award, do enter the Smarties and pick up one of these wonderful trophies later in the year. And then we used those winners, as I say, as case studies in order to help educate the market as to what does good look like. And the key thing is, it's not the creativity per se, it's the business effect. What were the results that were part and parcel of that campaign? So coming back to MAT, Mobile Marketing Attribution Think Tank, as I said earlier, select and supply with confidence is our key mantra and our key goal. Of those that we had a survey with, 34% are using a solution currently, 41% intend to be using a solution. But of those currently using a solution in terms of attribution and measurement, or measuring attribution, only 35% of campaigns of having it applied to. And the level of confidence we found to be quite low. And our score on that is that the solutions that are in the market currently and how they're being adapted, our marketers found, when we asked them the question, would you recommend it to a colleague or another marketer, our NPS score was down at minus 29. So we think there's a real challenge and an opportunity here in this whole marketing measurement attribution field. So where are we on our journey? We've talked with marketers and shared best practices. We've identified some providers, and we've now got a landscape around what we consider to be the start of mobile touch attribution. And we're building framework and we're building tools. So as MMA members and part of the MMA, this is what we've delivered thus far. So we have from the top there, we have a report that's a comprehensive guide to the whole landscape of attribution and measurement. And I'd recommend, if you're a marketer, it's a benchmark, something to look at. If you're a publisher or an agency or something, I think it's good to understand the challenges that marketers have. We have on the right here an RFI. So what does that mean? If you're looking to move into this field, then what are the questions you should be asking of potential providers? Depending on your objectives. And then we have a tool as well that will help you evaluate potential providers. And we've got a set of webinars that really goes into this in detail that in your own time you could listen to and get some insight and some understanding. So where are we? What we're trying to do is map an awful lot of data into one place. The actual real holy grail, as I mentioned earlier, is getting to a point where there is a unified user ID, as in, as a marketer, as an agency, as a publisher, you can really understand at the individual level what actions are being taken to deliver outcomes that you want. And I'm just going to go through this quickly now with you. So what we're trying to do is we're looking at what we call linkable marketing. I hope you can see that. It's white on blue. So linkable, it's desktop, it's mobile, it's digital TV and retail. It's the things where you get clicks and interactions that we can sort of measure. So pulling all that together is one really important element in this landscape. Then we've got what we refer to as the walled gardens area. We know there's a lot of data sitting behind social sites and search and everything else, but that data and aggregated data is really important that the marketers get access to, as they should data from TV, traditional outlets, as well as other things external like the weather companies. Then everybody's looking at the conversions. What does it do for sales? What does it do for foot traffic? And last but not least, where's that data come from? Is it first party? Is it third party? So what we're looking to do and where we've got to at the moment is that this whole attribution question requires 4 types of data at that user level. And that second point there that says multi-touch attribution needs devices to be mapped to unique user ID so that ad impressions on a mobile device can be linked to conversions on a desktop. So whilst that's one angle, it's also linking to other data from other data sources. And as you can see there are a whole plethora of different data sources coming on through. So on our journey so far, we've identified needs, we've built some tools, we're now in the phase of launching some working groups, and we will be sharing those findings certainly here in Spain later this year. So just as I come to the end of my piece here, let me just talk to you about the working groups that we're currently launching. As you can see, there's a whole host of marketers that are inputting into that. And so the first working group is around data quality and accuracy. And why is this important? What are we looking to do? What are we looking to accomplish? Well, one, we need standards, and two, we need data readiness guidance, and with the help of those marketers, we will get that. It's important because confidence and trust is hugely critical to data analytics and making decisions based on the data. So therefore, the quality and its accuracy needs some guidance and some standards. And then the second working group we've just launched is around the walled gardens area. And when we say walled gardens, this is where data is sort of, held behind some sort of wall. Hence, it's called a walled garden. But we're trying to lower that wall. And in order to really gain, and why does it matter? In order to gain an accurate view of what is working, then marketers, agencies, advertisers, everybody involved in this needs a complete picture, everything that's first party, third party, behind walled gardens and openly available. So that's pretty much the conclusion. I feel like I've rushed it a bit, and I know there's a lot of data there's a lot of reports that you can get from the MMA, but really, as I say, just to summarize, this project is answering the 2 key questions. How much should I spend in mobile? And how do I know that my marketing is being really effective? And it's not just click-through, it's not just CPT, it's not just reach and frequency. It's like, did I sell more of what I'm trying to sell? Did I change perceptions with consumers? How can I make sure that the business is moving forward from my actions as a marketer with the publishers I use, with the apps that we build, with the front end, the back end, and everything else? And we're on that road to giving insight to marketers and to people in the industry so that they can primarily select and apply with confidence, make better decisions, and more quickly.